Hey, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. So let's do a few design choices here. So first of all, I want to make this part full width to cover these sides, because when designing a page you need quite a bit of space so you can see what you're doing, because we're going to be adding HTML in here. Okay, so let's rearrange things a little bit. I want to move this image onto the side here and then make this full screen, and then that way I can get and move these guys on the top. That way I can get more space for the page content at the bottom. So let's do that. So back to our add page here in our plugin, and this is the basic pages plugin, and we're in the views admin add. All right, so let me grab this description and keywords and move these guys up. So I'm gonna cut those, and let's go, yeah, let me cut those. Let's go above the page content, which is right here, just below the slug. Okay, cool. So at that point I can duplicate this end div and then push everything over. So I want to push everything up to, let's see, there's title here, and then there's image over there. So let's ignore image for now. I'll put my opening div right about here. Okay. Now I want these to be side by side, the image and this guy here. So what I would do is I'm going to put both of these inside a another div, right? So let's put another div like so, and let me select the end of this one and put another closing div right here, and then move everything over again like that. Okay, so I have two items in this. So now I can use the classes, the bootstrap classes. I'll use row so that these guys fit on the same row. And what else do I need here? This one I want to remove. This is what's limiting the borders on this side. We don't really need the shadow either, so maybe we don't need all of this stuff actually. Rounded, shadow, MX, that too. We don't need all of that. So, okay, so that looks fine. Let's see what this does. Also, let me put call MD up to medium size. They should follow this rule. This one should take up about 4 parts of the whole, and the whole is 12. So out of 12 it will get 4 parts, and let's do the same thing up to medium size. 12 minus 4 is 8, so let's put 8 over there like so. Now the order here is somewhat different because I want the image to be on the other side, but let me see how this looks. So first of all, it's full page. There's an image here. I think this actually works. And then when we go ahead and let me do responsive design, I want to see how this fares, and then it goes full screen like that, which is exactly what I wanted. So this is pretty responsive. Only that I think the section for the image is a little big, so let's put 9 over here. Oops, what have I done? Let's put 9, and here let's reduce that to 3, so we still add up to 12. So let me refresh, and there we go, much bigger. Yeah. That should do just fine. Why is the thing not full size? Seems like there's something preventing it from going full width, which I do not see here. Where is this? row, it should be this one, right? Let's remove this padding, I guess. Let's see if that actually helps. I wanted to get all the way here. It does help, but it seems there's something bigger going on here because this pages thing ends here. I'll have to take a look at that. Okay, but those are CSS issues, so not very big. Alright, so we can still add an image over here. That is cool. And then we can add content over here, which is good. At least now we have more space for this. Then the categories can still come down here. Okay, so this is all good. Now let's make sure that we use Ajax requests to post this, because when you have images like this, and then we're going to be posting HTML here, which means also we could post some images in there, in the text document here, the text box I mean, because we're going to use a plugin here for this part here for adding HTML. So we could as well be putting images in here, and that can get pretty heavy pretty quick. So when you hit the save button down here, this is hiding our save button, right? That's not cool at all. I think we can solve this problem by putting a margin at the bottom of 5, so it can leave a lot of space down here. That way we can always scroll past it. Okay, so maybe that, and padding bottom 5, just to increase it some more. Let's try that. Yep, there we go. Okay, so now at least I can click save in peace. Okay, so let's prepare for an Ajax request, right? So let's go down here and add some JavaScript. So this is for adding the image, which is cool. Valid image is equal to true. That's great. Now, please remember, guys, that you can actually add JavaScript files directly in the JS here. Plugin.js, we've never used this before so far. I don't think we've used it. But you can use that and import it here when the JavaScript file is quite large, because then it helps to cache that file instead of putting them directly in the PHP file here. Now what I normally do is I'll put JavaScript in here in the PHP files, and then when I'm good, when I know that it works as I need it, then I can move it to the plugin.js and then include that file here. Alright, so let's just add some inline JavaScript this time. So here I'm going to use, instead of just a function, I'm going to use an object. So I'll call it a constant. I'm gonna say const, what do we call this? Post or page? Let's just say page, because this is a page thingy. Okay, so const page is equal to, now we can put some functions we want here. First function is submit, and we're gonna put it like this. Then we put a comma, because remember this is an object, so we're adding items to an object, and an object can also take functions as well. So something is wrong here. It shouldn't look like this. Or is it just me? Yeah, look at that. I don't know why I always make this mistake. It's supposed to be like this. Okay, const page is equal to, right. Okay, so submit, that's the submit function there we need. And we need one to handle result function. And let's go ahead and do that. And what else do we need? So we submit and we handle the result. Yep, I think that does it. So for now, let me put E here to capture that event, and then here the result I'm expecting. Pretty cool. And now this E is going to be the form. So what I would do is go to the form here and put an event listener on submit. And when we submit, we're going to go to page.submit and then put that event in there. This is not how you write submit at all. Okay, so there we go. It will run that function, and immediately we have to prevent the default behavior. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so then say alert, just so we know that things are actually working. So I'm going to refresh the page and then try to submit and see if I get, and there it is. Okay, so things are working as intended. Now all we need to do is capture every input from here, and then we are good to go. So these inputs should have names, so we're going to use that. So I'm going to say form is equal to, actually let's just say let inputs are going to be equal to, we'll say e.current target, which is the form itself, dot query selector. There's actually a way to get inputs from a form. I think it's dot inputs or something. I don't know, but you can do this in many ways. So I want to get anything that starts with input, and I'll put a comma because I want to get several items. So I also want to get anything that is a select. I also want to get anything that is a text area. So like that. So because I'm getting multiple items, this should be query selector or like that. Okay, so great. So now we have all the inputs we need, and let's loop through them. So we're gonna do a for each. Oh, sorry, this is not PHP, this is JavaScript. Right, so we do that, and we do a for each loop, and we have to add to the form. So what I'll do is create a form. So I'm going to say let my form is equal to new form data. There we go. And so now we append to the my form here. So let's append that, say dot append, and as usual, key value pair. So this item, we're going to assume it's got a name. That will be our key, because when you append, you put a key and then a value on the other side with a comma in between, like so. So on this side, we will put a value instead. Now, of course, when it comes to images, it doesn't use value, but it uses the files property. So of course, we will have to check here and say if input dot type, let's look at the type. If input.type is equal to file, then we do something completely different. So on this one, I'm going to say, let's do this. So if it's a file, we also have to check if there is a valid image. So valid image is over here. So let's copy that. Valid image is equal to true. Wait a second. Valid image is equal to true. This won't carry it anymore. So what we want to do is we want to add a second item here, said image added. So we start with false on this one, so that we know when the image was added. So copy, excuse me. So here, image added will be only files, blah, blah, blah. That will be false. Okay. And then valid image or image added will be true here. The only problem is valid image starts out with true, so that shouldn't be the case for image added. Okay. So here we will put image added over here. If image added, then let's grab that image and let's put it here. So with this one, we're going to use files 0, the very first image in that files item. Then anything else, we're going to do this like so. Okay, cool. But there's also checkboxes. Sometimes we may need to add checkboxes, so let's just put that for the future. So I'm going to copy this, copy, and let me paste it here. Boom. Let's go here. Let's put an else if, like that. But this has to have this, like so. Okay. So on the second one, if it's equal to checkbox, right? Or, so if it's a checkbox or radio button, let me copy that, let me put it here. Or it's equal to radio. In this case, we will check if this item is checked, right? So we'll say dot checked, because only when it's checked should we actually add it, and we use the same key value pair like that. All right, so if it's a file, we do that. If it's a checkbox or radio button, we check if it's checked, that's when we add it. Otherwise, the rest, just add the value directly like so. All right, so we have that form now, which we can submit after all of this. Now, we also need to validate this data, but yeah, we should do a little bit of validation before we get to this point. But let's create an HTTP request. So we're going to say let xhr is equal to new XML HTTP request. And then we do xhr.send. We put my form in there. But before we send, we must open it. So let's do .open, and then let's choose our method, which is post. We are posting to this very page, so we leave that empty, and then we put true for asynchronous sending of data. And of course, we're going to add an event listener, and we are listening for the ready state change. And then we add our function over here with an E. And then open and close that. There we have our event listener. So we've done this before. So we say if ready state, so this is xhr.readyState is equal to 4. It means we have a result at this point. But then the result could be bad or good. So let's do xhr.status should be equal to 200. Then we know everything is good. In this case, we run the page.handle result function, and then we'll say xhr.response_text, because that's the text we get back. All right, that's what we send the result over here. And then in here we can just say do an alert of the result, because that's just text. All right, so far so good. Also, it's important to not upload anymore if we are already uploading. So let's do upload is equal to false. But once we get to this point, then uploading is equal to true. So we're going to say page.uploading is equal to true. And then here we check to see if uploading is true. Just after preventing default, we'll say if page.uploading, which means it's true, let's exit this function. That way we don't accidentally start uploading other items while we're uploading others. And it would be good, I guess, to put an alert and say, please wait while we upload, right? Or something. You can write your own message there. That is great. Okay, so this is coming up really well. Let's continue in the next video.